This video will walk through how to make any edits or changes to time entries on an already submitted and approved timesheet. This video will specifically walk through how to do this change to any past timesheets when using the 1 or 2 tier approval methodology. This methodology is per workspace, so if you need to confirm that with your admin, please check with any system administrator, as they will confirm in the time entry and timesheet settings and add-on. In this video, I'm going to be using a user's timesheet that has already been submitted. You'll see I'm impersonating Joe here. He's got a 20-hour timesheet that you can see here has already been submitted. So if I go in here to this timesheet, the usual use case for this is Joe has submitted his time entries for last week, and he needs to make some changes, whether it's to the number of hours or the descriptions or any aspect of these time entries. You'll notice that Joe cannot make any edits to these since they have already been submitted and approved by the final approver and also by the PM in this 2-tier time entry example. In order for Bill to be able to make any changes to this passed and submitted and approved timesheet, this will need to be escalated to the final approver, which in this case is Dylan, as you can see by the icon up here. The next step for this is actually for Joe to escalate it to the final approver, to Joe's final approver, in this case is Dylan. So I'm going to go ahead and switch over to impersonating Dylan and looking at this timesheet. As you can see now, Dylan is now taking action on this timesheet, now impersonating him rather than Joe. So you can see now I actually have some options up here to the timesheet. So now what has to happen is the timesheet actually has to be resubmitted and then released back to the submitter, which is Joe. So what I'm going to go ahead and do here as Dylan, as the final approver, is I'm going to go ahead and resubmit. You'll see this option up here. And you'll see the option still is to have Dylan as that final approver, which was the default for Joe's profile. So I'm just going to go ahead and resubmit it, and it's going to select the approver and restart the approval process. So now that the approval has been restarted, now I can, as the final approver, either reject it or I can actually go up here, which in this case, since we need to release these time entries back to the submitter, who is Joe, I need to delete the timesheet and release the time entries back to Joe. Now I want to clarify this because deleting the timesheet will not delete the time entries within that timesheet. It will only delete the shell timesheet, which is this item right here, and release these 4 time entries back to Joe to then be able to make changes to them. So I'm going to go ahead and delete up here in the top right, and it's going to confirm that I'm deleting the timesheet and the time entries will be released and then can be resubmitted on another timesheet. So go ahead and hit OK. You'll see now if we go back in as Joe, which I'll do right now, you'll see that his time entries are now available again. Now as you can see, I'm impersonating Joe up here again. You'll see that the timesheet history, I can actually make a submission for these 20 hours. I can go back to the grid for that week I was working on. Theirs was 5 hours, so now I can make any changes to those 5 hours or 20 hours, whether it's maybe making them 7 hours or whatever adjustment. Make any changes I need to. Now I can go ahead and resubmit that timesheet to the final approver again. You can go ahead and view that timesheet, which will then get rerouted again back to Bill, who is the project manager of the new project plan, and then after Bill approves, it'll go to the final PM, which is Dylan. And then once that is approved, then Joe will no longer be able to make any changes to it again, just like before, where then he can go ahead and go through the same process that we did in this video. Escalate that to the final approver.